Yukimari, you could just monitor me to see if I'm coming across loud and clear so we can begin the broadcast. We're going to bring it on the internet as well. Hmm? Listeners of TBS Radio, good afternoon to you. We greet you from the Financial Center to bring you live. We greet you from the Financial Center to bring you live coverage of the ceremony that will launch the loan facility with the small. Good afternoon to you, Kimara Ito. Good afternoon to listeners, and we are happy to bring you live this function from the Ministry of Finance conference room. DBS bringing you a ceremony to launch the small business facility and with the aid bank. So there's a loan facility that is set up for that purpose, and very soon we will have the start of the ceremony. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit at the head table, aid bank officials as well. Quite a number of ministers are also present as we launch this very important initiative, a ceremony that will really outline the agenda of this loan facility. And surely this will provide tremendous benefits to the small business sector. And I can recall on a recent Anopali program that Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit had indicated that the loan facility is expected to help entrepreneurs and boost business and economic activity in Dominica. So very soon we will see the start of this ceremony. Not the first such facility that government is signing with the aid bank. We have had similar facilities signed already, but this one is just another one, very important one, as we continue in the developmental thrust of the country. And this loan facility will surely help to sort of revive the businesses and ensure their continuity amidst these challenging times. As I speak, I see more people coming at the head table. So very soon we should see the start. We have quite a few media houses represented here as well at this ceremony. We are expected to hear from both government and the aid bank about this venture, how the loan facility will be rolled out, how soon the funds will be accessed. We should hear as well about the commencement of application for this facility, the processing, I guess, of the documents by staff of the aid bank. That is very crucial as well. The issue of transparency, and things like that will be outlined in that function. So let me go now to the podium for the chairperson to start off.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. As we begin this afternoon, it is always right and fitting to invite the presence of the good Lord. And so I invite Mrs. Gloria Joseph, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, to lead us with a word of prayer, please. Let us all stand. Let's pray. God our Father, we thank you that you have called us to this business of governance, of service to our country. We thank you for your blessings upon our lives. We ask that as we go through the ceremony, you would guide us. We ask that you would bless every person who is going to be a part of this program. We ask that our beneficiaries, the small business sector, the medium-sized enterprises, would be enabled and empowered through this facility. We ask that you would guide our partners and stakeholders and our government. We thank you, God, for every blessing, every benefit, and the resources that you have made available to us, that our country could be blessed economically, socially, and in all other ways. Thank you for guiding us this morning. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Mrs. Joseph. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Shakira Lockhart Hippolyte, Acting Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, other members of Cabinet, Ms. Denise Edwards, Acting Financial Secretary, Mrs. Gloria Joseph, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, other permanent secretaries, Ms. Mary-Therese Johnson, General Manager of the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, those listening via various social media platforms, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And welcome to the signing ceremony for the agreement for the establishment of a new credit facility for micro, small, and medium enterprises in the Commonwealth of Dominica. This agreement will be signed between the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica and the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial, and Development Bank. In giving due recognition to the important role that small businesses play in social development, economic development, job creation, and of course, sustainable livelihoods, the government has initiated several programs, such as the Small Grants Program at the Ministry of Tourism, as well as various training programs across all different government departments. So in light of this, and with this signing of this new agreement this afternoon, the government will be continuing in that thrust to ensure that the contribution of MSMEs is recognized to economic development in Dominica. We have all seen that businesses have been hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, and so many of them are in need of that financial push to get them going again. We have also seen that many of them have been able to quickly transition into recovery mode, and those persons are also in need of that financial assistance. At the same time, we've seen many new businesses emerge with unique products and services who are also in need of technical and financial assistance. And so the aim of this credit facility is to provide financial support to MSMEs which will assist them in terms of their financial sustainability and economic recovery, especially in light of COVID-19. The government is committing an amount of $27,795,988 for providing financial assistance to MSME, and this will be administered by the Aid Bank for on-lending to these small businesses. The signing of this agreement is yet another means by which the government pledges its commitment to MSMEs, and it also demonstrates the high level of confidence that the government has in this sector as major contributors and partners in development. So with these few remarks, I wish to welcome you all to this signing ceremony, which I am sure will make a significant impact for the development of MSMEs in Dominica. The Aid Bank plays a very important role in terms of being responsible for the administration of the funds and to ensure that it is for the on-lending onto eligible borrowers at concessionary interest rates. And so I invite Ms. Mary-Therese Johnson to provide remarks.
Honorable Roosevelt Scarrett, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Shakira Lockhart-Hippolyte, Acting Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, other members of Cabinet, Ms. Denise Edwards, Acting Financial Secretary, Mrs. Gloria Joseph, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Planning, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development and Renewable Energy, Ms. Lisa Valmond, Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, other Permanent Secretaries, those listening via social media platforms, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good afternoon to all. As specialized financing entities, development banks from global, regional, and local perspectives have remained instrumental in the nurturing of developing economies, particularly those in which governments have prioritized the acceleration of the basic needs of its people, such as food, shelter, education, and support for the micro, small, and medium-sized sector. Unlike commercial banking institutions who convert deposits as resources for loan facilities, it is no secret that the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial, and Development Bank, the Aid Bank, like many of its counterparts, does not have a savings component as a part of its internal operations. Rather, as a development bank, we are to mobilize financial resources and technical support from lending agencies and invest these in the productive sectors which primarily comprise agriculture and fishing, tourism, and industry, which includes manufacturing, services, and transportation. The Aid Bank also mobilizes funds for housing, education, and energy subsectors of our economy. A fundamental attribute of development banking is the counter-cyclical approach to lending, so that, understandably, in post-natural disaster periods, such as in the case of Tropical Storm Erika, Hurricane Maria of recent memory, or during times of national crisis, such as the current COVID-19 pandemic, the Aid Bank is tasked with undertaking measures to neutralize the slowdown in lending activity by offering moratoriums or grace periods, rescheduling existing loans when it becomes necessary to do so, and very importantly, increasing and diversifying our loan product offerings at very concessionary rates for vulnerable groups and at more flexible loan security terms. The most recent credit facilities that I can speak of, for example, are the COVID-19 loan facilities. The first in the sum of $5 million EC dollars and administered by the Aid Bank on behalf of the government of Dominica. The facility targeted small businesses which were adversely impacted by the pandemic or the emergency powers curfew order Statutory Rules and Order number 15 of 2020. At the end of February 2021, 392 customers benefited from this initial facility and were able to mitigate the effects of the pandemic. However, given the overwhelming response to the initial small business support facility, which attracted over 1,100 applicants, a second facility of $6 million EC was negotiated to extend short-term liquidity support to the small business sector for operational expenses. To date, loans for approximately 787 clients have been approved under this second credit facility, which was supported by the contingency emergency response component. Ladies and gentlemen, we will always owe a debt of gratitude to our shareholders, namely the government of Dominica, the Dominica Social Security, and other regional and international lending agencies for their continued financial and technical interventions, which brings me to the significance of today's event. On behalf of the Board of Directors, management, and staff of the Aid Bank, I express profound thanks for this new line of credit that we are receiving and which is geared for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, the MSME sector. This line of credit for the amount of $10,340,000 is for on lending to existing and potential clients within the productive sector, generally speaking, agriculture, industry, and tourism. The Aid Bank is confident that this new line of credit will favorably impact employment creation, export substitution, sustain livelihoods, and increase revenue and foreign exchange earnings. The demand for concessionary credit facilities remain very high, given our island's sensitivity to the impacts of climate change, the ongoing challenges forced on existing clients within the MSME sector, and new entrants into this space as a result of disruptions caused by the pandemic. Many inquiries about this facility have already been made by affiliates as well as existing and potential clients. As a viable business entity itself, this facility will also allow the bank to expand its loan portfolio and enhance its competitiveness within the financial services sector in which it operates. We express our sincere appreciation to Government of Dominica for the confidence that you have shown in us, the Aid Bank, having seen it fit to provide another fundamental line of credit at this critical juncture in our economic and social development. We assure you that we will abide by the covenants embedded within this agreement. We also express our sincere gratitude to the Caribbean Development Bank for the confidence shown in the government and people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to thank my staff and team who worked tirelessly on ensuring that all necessary protocols, procedures, documentation were pulled together to make this day possible. Once again, on behalf of the Board of Directors and my team at the Aid Bank, heartfelt thanks to the Government of Dominica on this significant occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. The Ministry of Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives has specific responsibility for small business development in Dominica. And therefore, this credit facility certainly reinforces all of our goals. I now call upon the Honorable Shakira Lokot Hippolyte, Acting Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, to deliver remarks.
Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, other members of Cabinet, Ms. Dennis Edwards, Acting Financial Secretary, Mrs. Gloria Joseph, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Planning, Ms. Lisa Valmon, Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, other permanent secretaries, Ms. Mary Terrace Johnson, General Manager, Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, those listening via various social media platforms, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. This is indeed a good afternoon to be noted and celebrated. In the budget address for the financial year 2021-2022, the Honorable Prime Minister highlighted the social and economic disruptions which has been caused by COVID-19 and the need to create a greater urgency to rationalize public sector investments and make them more responsive to the changing global environment. Therefore, the Honorable Prime Minister stressed on the government's intention to continue to invest in a number of high-growth sectors, such as agriculture, manufacturing, construction, and tourism, to encourage a culture of entrepreneurship and to create a special financing facility at the Aid Bank for small and medium-sized enterprises. So today, only a few months later, I am honored to deliver remarks at this important and very timely ceremony for the signing of a new MSME credit facility between the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica and the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial, and Development Bank in an amount of $27.8 million for on-lending to small businesses in Dominica. This agreement emphasizes the promotion of a culture of entrepreneurship and reinforces this government's belief that enterprise development is key to long-term economic growth. It also highlights the government's support towards the recovery and development of micro, small, and medium enterprises. It comes at an opportune time when businesses are starting to recover and evolve and looking to finance emerging products and services which will sustain livelihoods. This new credit facility complements a small business grant program of the Ministry of Tourism, which targets small agro-processors, manufacturers, and creative industries. Through the Small Business Support Unit, the government continues to provide financial and technical support to targeted MSMEs as they move to develop and expand their businesses. To date, for this financial year, an amount of over $800,000 has been approved for grant support to 122 small businesses. Throughout the year, the unit has been positioning itself as a one-stop shop for small businesses to further enhance small businesses with additional training and mentorship. Therefore, the unit stands ready to assist small businesses in their applications for this new credit facility to ensure that the goals of the program are maximized. Through the UNDP-funded Future Tourism Program, the government ensured that 22 MSMEs were given training and grants amounting to $257,850 for creating an online presence, conducting cashless transactions, building a resilient recovery, and ensuring sustainable operations. It is evident that these initiatives, as well as this significant investment, which we will launch today, signal government's awareness of the potential growth of these small businesses and their contribution to employment, household income, and the economy. The signing of this agreement emphasizes the government's pledge to create the enabling environment to facilitate the expansion of the small business sector and the strengthening of our micro, small, and medium-sized businesses. It is my hope that all small businesses take full advantage of this enabling environment, whether it is through grants, technical support, training, hand-holding, or financing through this new credit facility. On behalf of the ministry with responsibility for small business development, I pledge our utmost support to ensure that the goals of this credit facility are recognized. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hippolyte, for pledging the support of the ministry towards the goals of this new credit facility. At this point in time, I wish to call upon the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, to address the ceremony.
Thank you. Let me, first of all, recognize Honorable Reginald Ostry, our Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Shakira Lockhart Hippolyte, our Acting Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, my other Cabinet colleagues present. We have with us the Financial Secretary, Ms. Dennis Edwards, PS Planning, Mrs. Gloria Joseph, PS Tourism, Ms. Valma, PS Office of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Henderson. We have with us the General Manager of the Aid Bank, Ms. Marie-Therese Johnson. And I'd like to especially recognize the media. And I see the high officials from the media present, which signals the importance of the ceremony. So we have the general managers and, program directors and owners of media houses present. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Dominicans all listening via the live broadcast of this short but very significant ceremony. Good afternoon, everybody. I am truly gratified to be here this morning, or this afternoon. This signing ceremony is another representation of our commitment as a government to create greater opportunity for all our citizens and to develop progressive policies which respond directly to their needs. The agreement signed today with the Aid Bank holds much promise for many of our people who will be able to access financing to facilitate investments in business and enterprise and the creation of jobs and new income streams. The agreement is in respect of a promise I made to the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in fiscal year 2020-2021 and a manifesto promise of the 2019 general elections. Today, this promise is manifested. As I've always said, despite the unforeseen and regular economic shocks we contend with as a country, this government always, and I underscore the word always, keeps its promises. We're happy that we're able to fulfill our promise, notwithstanding government's less than optimal fiscal position due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Since March 2020, government has had increased expenditure related to COVID management and response, while revenues have remained below 2019 levels. Yet, here we are, putting systems in place to give our citizens a push and the boost they need to get back on their feet, improve their living conditions, and build their small enterprises. Further, small businesses have taken a disproportionately hard hit due to the ongoing pandemic. We hear the call for assistance to bring the enterprises back to previous operational strength, to expand, and to prepare for the anticipated post-pandemic bounce back in the economy. In response, government has loaned $27.4 million Eastern Caribbean dollars from the Caribbean Development Bank for on lending to the MSMEs through the Aid Bank. These will be offered at an interest rate of 3.5% per annum on the reducing balance. Borrowers will be given a grace period of 6 months, on the payment of the principal and interest and a 10-year repayment term. No, you cannot get better than that. If there's any bank in Dominica who's beating this, I will match it. This special facility builds on previous investments made by the government in micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. This is not our first intervention to assist business owners impacted by the pandemic. In September 2021, this government placed an amount of $6 million at the Aid Bank to lend to micro and small businesses. This complemented an initial $5 million, which was made available by the government as a COVID response measure in 2020. Therefore, to date, that is from 2020, the total amount made available by this government since May 2020, a period of less than 2 years, for lending to MSMEs on very concessional terms is $34.4 million. All of this is in addition to the grants which government continues to provide through the small business unit within the Ministry of Tourism. The $1 million recently pledged to the Dominica Youth Business Trust, and the human resource support provided through the National Employment Program, because we do in fact provide staff to many small businesses across the length and breadth of this country, which is in effect direct cash to these small businesses. Due to our support of the small business sector over the past years, small and medium-sized enterprises have fulfilled an even greater role in the economic and social development of Dominica. Presently, we are seeing the rise of small business in Dominica. More of our young people are taking up entrepreneurship and displaying a high level of creativity and innovation. They are developing their interests in information technology, pursuing employment and money-making opportunities online, and creating businesses which operate within the digital space. Others are involved in small-scale agro-processing and retail. This facility provides an avenue for them to invest and expand their enterprises, create employment, and contribute to the growth in the economy. This Labour Party-led government understands the importance of the contribution of the micro, small, and medium enterprises to the Dominican economy. I speak here of agro-processors, the plumbers, electricians, farmers, fishermen, vendors, barbers, hairdressers, retailers, artists, and all the other entrepreneurs who ensure that economic activity remains steady. We believe the injection of funds into this sector will positively impact small business activity and touch the life of the common man, and indeed the common woman, in every village, in every part of Dominica. I encourage business owners who qualify to take this opportunity to grow their businesses in a sustainable manner. The funds were secured specifically for you to help spur growth in the small business sector. The next move, my dear friends, is yours. Government will closely monitor the pace and efficiency of the disbursements at the Aid Bank. I have already informed the bank that these funds must get to every corner of the country during this calendar year. This is about people. It is about enhancing lives and livelihoods, and we must make every effort to ensure our people who are in need of the funds benefit in the quickest possible time. A word to the wise is sufficient. And so I say to the aid bank, as I've said to them before publicly and privately, let us not have people going back and forth. Let us be transparent with what's needed to apply and ensure that the documents are in order, and where we can facilitate, we facilitate. But this culture we have in Dominica of having somebody to ride a bus every day or every week to come and bring the same documents, and sometimes we even lose people documents, we cannot have this anymore. Because I cannot be going out there as the Minister of Finance, Prime Minister, negotiating for these funds, and then I'm getting blows on the streets for it. We have to be efficient, and I am happy to hear from the manager that they've put a special infrastructure in place at the bank to oversee this particular loan facility. So we look forward to that. But that is an important point I want to make, because that's a complaint people make. So I don't want to blame Skerrit as you always do, you know. I am encouraged by the growth prospects for the local economy. The IMF and other international financial institutions, including the ECCB, are projecting average growth of up to 5% this year and over the next 3 to 5 years for Dominica. These predictions are supported by the investments we are making to build the digital economy and develop the geothermal plant to transform the energy sector. The construction of new hotels and the international airport, direct flights from the US mainland, extensive investments in agriculture, and increasing export opportunities all position us to realize gradual growth over the next few years. This access to financing falls in line with the growth trajectory we are currently pursuing. It means that you, as a small or medium-sized business owner, can be part of our thrust to bolster the economy and contribute to the sustainable development of this country. And I want to say to our small business owners that we have to manage our businesses wisely. Money was never meant to be spent. Money was meant to be managed, and therefore we have to manage our money. We have a small business. If we are an employee, as the owner, we must pay ourselves a salary or wage and not treat the sales from the business as our personal funds. You cannot buy a motor car, put 25-inch rims on them, have all kinds of fancy things on them, paid for by the business. If it's your personal business, let your funds, your personal funds, pay for the business, pay for this car. Because that is part of the problem we have in small businesses in Dominica. We use the business money to do all sorts of things which have no relationship with the core function and operations of a small business. And then we maintain a lifestyle that we cannot afford, and then we blame the country and say things tight in Dominica. It's not sometimes things that are tight, it's because we're not managing money properly in this country. And therefore it's important that we manage this money in Dominica. The other thing is that we have to manage our debt, our business debt. Some of us may not need a loan, we may need equity. And we therefore need to open up for people to come in and get shares in the business and bring in cash and to expand and to sustain our businesses. And, you know, I'm just a village politician speaking to you, you know, so we have to manage this properly. But this is an extraordinary commitment we're making and the fulfillment of our promise. $27.4 million given to the aid bank in a difficult period. And I want to say to us in this country that this money that we have loaned from the CDB would come to us as budgetary support. And so it would be at the discretion of the Minister of Finance to appropriate these funds to anything that he determines is a priority in the country. So these monies could have gone to roads, they could have gone to the construction of a city fence wall, they could have gone to the construction of a police station, it would have gone to the construction of a school. But we in the cabinet, recognizing the importance of the micro and small and medium-sized enterprises in Dominica, and its impact on the economy. And the fact that many people rely on these businesses to survive and to create jobs for themselves and to create jobs for others, we took a deliberate decision in the government not to give half or percentage of it, but to give the entire amount. Because if you go back to my budget address, I was supposed to have given $10 million every year over 3 years. We're giving all in one fell swoop. Because the reality is, this government and myself as the Prime Minister know how people live in this society. We're not far removed from the society, and we listen to people's concerns and people's criticisms and their aspirations and their dreams. And we recognize that our continued investment in small business development in Dominica and providing financing, but also financing that is accessible in terms of the conditions of those loans. 3.5%. 6 months grace period. It gives you an opportunity to use the money, make profit, and not pay back anything during that 6 months. And then also, the 3.5% is on a reducing balance. Most of these banks, they keep all principal amount and put in interest on it. And so it makes lending more expensive. I'm not a banker, but when you do the analysis of these conditions, this is really a 0.5% loan, an interest loan, because of the grace period and the 10 years you have to repay. So this is a government that is in tune with the needs of the society and is taking practical decisions to address the needs of Dominica. It is this government that established the small business unit in the ministry within the government system, providing loans. And over the existence of this small business unit, we have given in excess of $50 million as way of grants to Dominicans and small businesses. It is this government that established the Youth Business Trust, and we have capitalized the Youth Business Trust, giving them cash, and the government guaranteeing the loans, which means, as you all know, if being a guarantor, if he who you guarantee loan for doesn't pay, you pay. And in 2020, I authorized as Minister of Finance to pay to the banks in excess of $340,000 for loans which went bad under the Youth Business Trust. And so one cannot contest the inherent and practical and pragmatic commitment to small business development in Dominica. And what we're seeking to do with the small business unit is to ensure it becomes more of the mainstream society, that people are registered with Social Security, and you pay Social Security, so when you get to retirement age, you can get something from it. And so I'm very happy to be here. I invite you as people in our country to embrace this opportunity. Let us together continue to build a resilient, dynamic Dominica. And in the midst of this pandemic, we are fulfilling this extraordinary commitment. And I want to thank the Financial Secretary, Ms. Dennis Edwards, and the General Manager of the Aid Bank, because people believe that you just go and you sign a simple piece of paper and you get a loan. A lot of documents and legal documents and review and so forth. But we're here today, a little bit late, but always better to be late than never. But we're here, and I'm saying that these monies could have gone to many other needs in the country, but we understand the plight of small and micro enterprise in Dominica, and we put in the full amount of $27.4 million at the disposal of the Aid Bank to lend to the people. My hope and wish is that those who will get monies from this fund, will use it wisely. You're not fooling anybody if you go and use it for something else. You're fooling yourself. My responsibility as Prime Minister of this country is to help create opportunities for people. That's what we will be doing. And this is yet another manifestation of this commitment. It is left to you, this is no Dominica. In terms of your own appreciation, and in terms of how you use those funds. We're giving it to you to empower yourselves. Because I would like to see us be able to have millionaires in our country. People who can create more jobs and grow the economy and expand the economy. Create wealth. And we can do it, but we have to be continuously be diligent. And obviously, again, let us manage money. There's no course you'll do at any school in the world where they tell you how to spend money. Always money management courses. And so I'm very excited for you. I'm very, very excited for the small business people. So many of you who have been impacted by this pandemic. We have been impacted as government, in a huge way, so we understand how you have been impacted as well. And I wish the Aid Bank well, and I wish all of us well in this country. I'm so happy to be here, and thank the CDB for providing these funds to us. Remember, government has to pay it back, So please ensure that if you pay back the Aid Bank because we have to pay for it. So we come full circle, But seriously, it's a huge opportunity for all of you. And I'm sure people are excited about this and so forth. And I do hope, and people, there's so many things happening in this country. I just came from CARICOM meeting, and later this week I'll speak about this. And people are having the impression that a general elections is imminent in Dominica. Simply because of so many investments are taking place in this country, especially in this pandemic. And I said to them, no, there is no election imminent in Dominica. Election will be 2025. You see what I'm saying? But people expect us to be able to be batting in our crisp or bat close to our pad. But no, we're out there, going down the wicket. We're creating opportunities for people, swinging our bats with confidence. That's what we're doing, because this government knows this country, and this government understands the people of this country. And very importantly, we listen to the people. And so we're here to react to what they're saying to us and providing this $27.4 million. I don't know, why did you have a bottle of champagne there tonight? I thought FSU would have had a bottle of champagne, and it could have been a sparkling wine or something to pop, because we should have some frills falling from the ceiling. We can't be here and without a celebration. I mean, a bottle of, $6 for us, you could have a bottle. Next time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable PM, for that very pointed address and an excellent prelude to the next component, which is the most exciting component, the signing of the agreement. The agreement will be signed on behalf of the government by the Financial Secretary, Ms. Denise Edwards, and by the General Manager of the Aid Bank.
We just heard from Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, who is responsible for finance, at this ceremony this afternoon. As we bring you live, they launch the signing of a new MSME credit facility, and that is between government and the Aid Bank.
Signing this agreement on Wednesday afternoon, we will launch the Canada Good Development Fund, the first of its kind in Dominican history. We target the indigenous people of Dominica and providing access for them to financing, to build a home and to build businesses resident in the Canada territory. And we look forward to this on Wednesday. So really, it's going to be a historical day in our country. And I give great admiration and commendation to the Member of Parliament, Jose Treasure, for this.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit indicated at that ceremony that there's another very significant ceremony on Wednesday of this week, the launch of the Kalinago Development Fund, and of course TBS Radio will bring that live to you. But we are seeing now a very important, very significant component of this ceremony that we are here to bring live coverage too. So we are seeing what is happening is the signing of the agreement, the actual signing done by the acting financial secretary, Miss Denise Edwards, and Mary Therese Johnson, who is the general manager of the Aid Bank, the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank. So the document has been signed. They have affixed their signatures to that document. And it's time now for the work to proceed.
So at this point in time, we have nothing else to say but thank you. We'd just like to thank, of course, the Honorable PM for this address in terms of, first of all, securing the funding to make this credit facility possible, for providing the history of support to MSMEs in Dominica and the importance of MSMEs to the economy in Dominica, and continuing to provide the support to MSMEs, and importantly, the call to action to the MSMEs to take advantage of this credit facility. We'd like to thank the Honorable Shakira Lockhart Hippolyte for pledging the support of the ministry towards the success of this initiative, and of course the General Manager of the Aid Bank for providing the context and of course stressing the importance of the development partnership between the government and the Aid Bank. I'd like to thank the Cabinet Ministers present here this afternoon, and importantly, the Caribbean Development Bank for providing the financing for this credit facility. The Financial Secretary certainly has played an important role in terms of the negotiations for this facility, and so we thank UFS for your hard work and dedication to MSMEs in Dominica. To all of the other permanent secretaries that provide support in terms of MSME development in Dominica, to the media, and to all of the persons listening via social media, various social media platforms. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you a blessed afternoon.
An end to this short but very significant ceremony at the Financial Center as the MSME credit facility between government and the Aid Bank has been officially signed, and we heard from the Prime Minister of the 6 months grace period and 10 years repayment for this facility. And he also mentioned that to date, the total amount since May of 2020 to now for lending to the MSMEs at concessionary terms, the figure is $34.4 million. And surely this access to financing, as he said, falls in line with the growth trajectory that Dominica is currently pursuing. So just to recap in terms of the running order of the program, we heard first from the acting PS in the Ministry for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives. She had the responsibility of chairing the event, Lisa Valmon, and she also gave brief remarks. We heard from Gloria Joseph, who is the PS in the Ministry of Planning, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development and Renewable Energy. And we also heard from Mary Therese Johnson, the General Manager of the Aid Bank, and then Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Even before Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, in fact, we heard from Honorable Shakira Lockhart Hippolyte, who is the Acting Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives. And then we heard from Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. So we'll have more surely on our news. The news desk will obviously extract some pertinent information from this ceremony and highlight it in the news. So tune in to our 1:15 newscast. But we will also bring this broadcast to an end. And let me thank our technicians on duty, Webmaster Nichols Dennis, and also let me say thanks to Aaron Wilshire as well. Ivona John Baptist Luge going back to Studio 1 for continued programming. It's White Monday. Good afternoon.